Welcome back. Episode whatever. This one is brought to you by Flowers. We had some guy write in and he says, get you and Peter a bouquet of flowers each. That's 2 bouquets. And your favorite beer. So I got flowers and thank you for that. Appreciate it. Here they are. There's the there's the proof right here. Super nice comment. Thank you for that. So today you wanted to talk about values, and I think that's a great idea. What do you got? Ask me a question and/or what are you thinking?
Yeah, what do you think values where do you think values come from? When I say values, like maybe like honor, um, kindness, courage, fairness, honesty, loyalty, all those kind of
Those good
things,
values.
fairness and purity and blah blah blah. Like, where do you think values come from? Um, the idea of human rights, the right to life and liberty and the
Okay.
pursuit of happiness. Uh,
Oh, I'm going to take
yeah,
some notes here. So
sure.
values.
hmm
And then what did you say? Human rights?
Yeah, like values or virtues, you might say. Like,
Where do they come from?
yeah, courage, prudence, wisdom, all of that,
Okay.
and then things like human rights, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Where do you think these things come from? What do you think they are?
Yeah, because I think in order to find out, that was where I went right away was if we're like, where do values come from? And then you mentioned like good values, which are good values. But in order to understand where they come from, we probably have to understand what they are, because that gets fascinating right away in the sense that like honor or something, or I don't know, integrity. We're big on integrity. Keep your fucking word, okay? Don't ever tell me you're gonna do something and then not do it. Man. No. um, no, I'm kind of going off track here. Um, it's weird because a value seems like there is nothing, there's no thing, and maybe you would argue because we had this argument about things, and I'm still not clear about that, but that was in a previous episode. There's no object. There's no recognizable object that is a value. Could say it that way. Right? And but then how did somebody discover something like integrity? That I don't know. That I think values. Maybe I don't know. Maybe some of the values arise in language because I'm as a thought experiment. So we're nerding out right now. We're in an intellectual. At least I'm in an intellectual space. So I want to be clear about that. I'm intellectualizing, thinking about this question, and imagining caveman times. I could hit you over the head with a club and take your woman and fuck her, and what? It would only be a problem so much as like, could you kill me and keep me from doing that? So that's raw, like an animal. Say if we go to prehistoric times, I imagine humans were like animals, like what we call wild animals. No, ergo, no social. Do values exist at that point as a thought experiment? Now certain values are there, like I have a woman, maybe. Again, thought experiment, so don't get your panties in a bunch, all right? We're just intellectualizing over here, so don't fucking freak out. And don't take it too seriously. I value the woman. If a man comes to take my mate, if somebody comes to take my mate, this is bad. So maybe that is a value, but it's not a value maybe the way we think of value. So then, and then at this point, there is no talking to one another, perhaps. Although maybe there's some crude form of understanding if we're social creatures. We're social, but we're not socializing like you and I socialize, and there's not English, French, Spanish, there's not all these languages. But maybe there's some way of, I do this, I don't do that. I value food. That's a value. Is that a value? So maybe we need to clarify what we mean when we say value, too.
Yeah. Well, I think if you're talking about like codes of behavior, like expected or accepted forms of behavior, I think that from what I've heard, most social animals, like chimpanzees and bonobos and dolphins and stuff, and even less social animals like rats, do exhibit predictable social behaviors
Right, and see that.
themselves with one another.
Right, and right away I'm seeing the major prerequisite there is the social part.
Well, and I think like if you think of an animal that's really, really, really not social, like an amoeba or something.
Yeah, or a reptile.
Not even reptiles have a little bit of social. Some of them, maybe some, and even insects like bees have social, and ants have social.
Yeah, and I guess social in this case is like I can recognize a collective organization of that. Like they're working together as a group, not solo.
They're not just competitive, and they're not ignoring each other. They're collaborating in some way. They're communicating in some way. They're cooperating in some way that's of mutual benefit. And I think that if you look at things like bonobos and chimpanzees and other primates, I'm no expert about this, but you see different kinds of behavior, but there are consequences for killing another chimp and taking his
right. Ergo values are in place.
Consequences like his brothers get together and kill you. Maybe there's an evolutionary social component to values, and maybe if we were like being materialist reductionist kind of people.
What does materialist reductionist mean?
We just reduce we don't say that values come from any higher source, any absolute source or spiritual principle or anything like that.
Okay.
Product of survival, and it's just a naturally occurring kind of manifestation of evolutionary processes, reductive like that.
I see. Because that's what I'm doing right now in an effort to explore the question further. It's like trying to break it down to where, in classic Ralstonian fashion, take it to nothing and then start building up. Where do they show up from nothing to something?
What I've heard, listening to Jordan Peterson, he says that they've done tests with rats, which are not like super social compared to chimps and us, but they still have social lives. And rats that they play and they wrestle, they play fight. They're not really fighting; they play fight.
Yeah.
And a bigger, stronger rat that allows a smaller rat that it can beat in a wrestling match to win a third of the time will continue to receive friendly interaction from that smaller rat. But if the smaller rat cannot win at least a third of the time, or maybe it's a fourth, I don't remember.
Okay, yeah,
but a certain amount of time, then that smaller rat stops playing with the older rat. I guess it's not having any fun. And so even at the level of rats, there starts to be a level of the bigger rat doesn't just stomp the smaller rat all the time.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is the big rat doesn't have any friends anymore. So it gets bored. It's lonely, no physical contact. So it curtails its behavior a little bit, and it arises even in rats. So I would think that if we're talking about values arising from social dynamics between animals, then they would arrive
I just think they don't exist.
early age or early whatever.
Yeah, and then we have to learn. So, and then continuing further, because I don't. So I'm standing on assumption now. Could be wrong. Assumption. Okay. That it doesn't exist without a socialization. Certain many values. Because what are values? They're cultural, right?
I don't think they're cultural because maybe some are, but if you see certain values expressed in animals,
Some are human-wide.
is that culture? Yeah, some are human-wide, and
Like we tend not to kill each other. That is like all over the planet. We value human life. We don't kill each other. That seems so. Then where does that come from? I think using some ideas from the way Peter talks about stuff, and when we consider survival, and then if you want to know more about survival, do an EMB workshop. But survival, not just the physical survival, but social survival, that we persist. Some shit comes with the package, like probably hardwired into our brains, kind of like a horse is hardwired when it comes out of the womb to try to stand up and walk. Like it just, where does that come from? Some biological function. Now there's a lot of other stuff though. Most probably vast majority of what we would call values, I see that as being social and then cultural. And you can see clearly values change from culture to culture. But that still doesn't answer the question, where do they come from? And this is where it gets interesting, because say if we take something like integrity, somebody had to discover that keeping your word is good or powerful. Somebody, and then maybe who was the first person to get that? At some point we were in, again, thought experiment, right? In dark times, like Roman times, and we only know this because of written history. So prehistory, who knows? Roman times, they discovered some stuff like democracy and a certain type of organization and a certain value system that was advanced. It was very advanced. And then they crashed. Excuse me, holy shit. And we hit the Dark Ages where the values changed. And that things went to shit for a while. And then it started to swing back again. Now, so circling back to your question, how does that happen? I don't know.
Your center of gravity, can you buy it at Walmart?
Nope. They don't sell centers of gravity at Walmart.
Can you pick it up and move it around?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Does it correspond to any particular part of your body? Exactly.
Yeah.
It does not. It is located
Right.
at an exact vector within your body.
Yeah.
That vector changes with every inhale and exhale, with every pump
Perhaps
of your
slightly.
heart.
Okay, yeah. And then if we cut my arms off, it'll shift, perhaps.
Yeah,
Or, no, it'll shift and whatever.
Yeah, if you drink a beer or take a piss, that center of gravity moves.
Yeah.
The center of gravity absolutely exists in this world. It's not something that we create.
But we can't buy it at Walmart, and it
You can't buy it
changes.
at Walmart, and it's not a physical object.
But it exists.
It is a relationship between physical objects governed by a principle.
Sounds fair.
I suggest that perhaps some values, some things like integrity or freedom,
Yeah.
operate in a similar way.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes. Of course they do. Yeah. 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 No,
Maybe
yeah.
they're recognized more or less in different ages by different cultures, and they exist nonetheless.
Yeah. Because some of the stuff gets cross-cultural, like, yeah, yes. I don't know why I left that out of the picture. Because, like, you can't change. I don't know how this will contribute to the conversation, but one of the big things that I've been on is consequences and recognizing, like, wait a minute. After I had a quote enlightenment experience, no, after I had an enlightenment experience, I got, wait a minute, the world works a certain way. Objects work a certain way. Non-objects also work a certain way. You know, like thoughts or like these values that you can't find anywhere, and yet there's something generative going on. And then so it becomes possible for me to then discover those. So it's like a discovering of something that already exists, but then we have the arguments that I hear here. I hear here, over there usually, in that general area, that people say, well, did I create it or does it exist? And maybe both. Because before somebody really grasps integrity, where does it exist? It does exist, but where? We don't know. It's like as if maybe it doesn't exist, and then they discover it / they create it. And then you say, well, how's that possible? I mean, well, it depends on what you're calling what they are. If you think a person is actually something that exists somewhere, then no, they don't create it, they find it. But if somebody, anyway, it doesn't matter. That problem of identification, like what are you calling a person? Like what is a person really? Like what am I really? What am I really? Perhaps I can create shit like principles or reality, but we don't know that. It's another story. Do a workshop. Okay, check the website. So yeah, it does seem like, okay, where I was going with that was principles. It's like shit works a certain way. And you can discover how that works. Like if I keep my word, my human being is more powerful. Like there's a fucking correlation between the two. But then how did somebody, I guess I keep going back to like, how did it first come about? That seems like a leap.
What I would say is that integrity does not exist. Integrity,
It exists for objects. That's the same principle governs this. It's the same principle. Sorry, John. Let me cut you off there. The same principle that exists as integrity for objects also exists as integrity for a person. It just shows up differently. It's stronger when it's whole and complete. A human being is stronger when they're complete. So go ahead. I cut you off.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I think that principle exists whether or not you recognize that it exists.
Right.
You don't have to have the concept of integrity to recognize for there to be objects that don't or that do function well, based on their broken.
Say that again.
Well, like if I have a lighter here and if the lighter is broken, and it doesn't work.
Right.
But if it does work because it's not broken, etc., it's working right, and that principle of integrity is in effect, regardless of whether I recognize it.
Sure. So we could say that it seems like something exists. Now, from my experience, I can't make use of integrity until I understand that. So I have to be aware that there's something going on or get conscious of that. And then it exists for me. Whereas before it doesn't exist. Maybe it exists somewhere where we don't know. I'm just not aware of it, and I cannot make use of it, and
Yeah. Well,
because I know that when I'm conscious of it, I get it, I understand it, then I can make power out of it. I can use the principle. If I'm not aware of it, I can't really use it. Now, I might be accidentally using it, not knowing what I'm doing, but for me, it's not integrity, it's just something happening.
Yeah, it's like gravity. It's like you're not recognizing that gravity exists. You just know that things fall down.
Right. And then there's no like force. I don't question it. I don't wonder about it. That's just the way things are, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just the way things are, and so you just kind of accept it in the forms that you see it in, and you can make use of it in the forms that you see it in, but you can't take it further and see that, yeah, gravity might be in operation in other ways, and we might be able to make use of that, for whatever, aerodynamics or for martial arts. And the same thing with integrity. Like, you might not recognize that integrity exists, but you recognize like whether your body is injured or not. So you try to make sure it doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
And then you might recognize that when you lie to someone, they don't trust you anymore, and you're like, oh shit, well maybe I should stop doing that. And so you stop doing that, right? Like, you recognize.
Yeah, they're those
small
things.
ways.
They're those things. And then to circle back to the original question, or what I'm making up as the original question, is how did that happen? Like, we're kind of hyper-focused on integrity as a value. Oh, wait a minute. But people don't necessarily value integrity.
Yeah.
Like most of the people in the U.S. don't. I have no idea. That's anecdotal. I didn't do the science. Okay, fine. Somebody out there, find the science. But the vast majority of people that I talk to, when they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to do something, you know how seriously I can take, I'm ranting for the camera and for you, it's like, you know how seriously I can take people when they give their word? Why don't you do an experiment out there? Talk to people. How many people do you actually rely on? And you know that when they say they're going to do something, they can do it. How many do you hang out with? An entire group of people that's like that? I have not found a single group of people that's like that, except for a bunch of people that have been trained up by myself and Peter here. Otherwise, people, like even professionals, oh yeah, I'll see you on blah, blah. I'm ranting now, and it's happening. My girlfriend's talking to a guy, big business guy, apparently really wealthy. We're going to meet on Saturday at this time for a call. And then he changes it to, we're going to meet at this coffee shop on Saturday at this time. And then I was like, and then she goes to follow up with this fool. And he goes, no response. I'm like, he's not going to make the meeting. And you know what? Sure as shit. Later on, oh, sorry, things are busy. Can I reach out to you sometime next week? Yep, and this is a top level, high mucky muck, makes a lot of dollars, has no idea how to keep his fucking word. Huh? So, the fucker didn't value integrity. So we've got principles. Yes, integrity exists, it's powerful. We can recognize that it's powerful, but we don't value it. So then what makes value? Valuing something. What the hell is that?
So maybe there are two things that we've already talked about that are in operation. One is that there are principles that show up as aspects of human existence.
Yeah.
Like the center of gravity.
Right.
Like integrity. Like, I would say freedom. Like life itself.
Yeah.
And these things, they're universals. We recognize them to varying degrees and value them to varying degrees and respect them to varying degrees and operate out of them to varying degrees.
Okay.
But then our values are social constructions that arise based upon the needs of survival. And that's going to be this competitive, cooperative dynamic that develops. And so there's going to be a lot of similarities across cultures in terms of our values, but there also will be differences because different.
Well, there's a lot of similarities nowadays, but then when you're talking, I was thinking about what I know of the Spartans, and they used to do shit like throw babies off a cliff when they weren't up to snuff. We don't do that. They valued that.
Millions of kids every.
We abort millions of kids. Yeah.
We kill them just because we don't want them, whether or not they're functional or not.
Yeah, or like in China, right? I've heard some stories about they go to the one baby policy and female babies are getting aborted because they're not male and they want men. So the only reason I bring this up is I'm trying to use it to tell us something about values, because in one culture the values are like that. Because of the values, they take these actions. Okay, throw the baby off the cliff. In this other culture, they do that. And there's other, as we get more and more connected, it seems that there's more and more similarities. There's like a Western value system and an Eastern value system. They're kind of two big ones, perhaps. But then you have stuff like indigenous tribes that have not had that contact, and they've got a totally different thing going on. And they have values, and they show up very differently. And the values I cannot see as like a certain thing, like not an object, but still creative and still governing my actions. Like, I value the flowers. They're pretty or something, I don't know. Or like, I have social rules with you. I have certain values. I value integrity where somebody else might not value integrity. You and I value honesty a lot. Other people do not value that. So then what does that tell us about what a value is?
To me, that means value is more about what the behavior, or maybe the principle in question. It's probably not recognized as a principle, but certainly the behavior.
Like it's a good behavior, it's a bad behavior.
Is whether or not it's good.
Like gangs, what I know about gang culture, I don't know, but it's like some people value being a thug. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna wear the pants and do the thing, and this is how I make it in the world. This is where I get status, and like I value that image, as opposed to somebody who values health and healthy choices. And we can see that values can change. What does that tell us about what a value is? Like something's going on there. What do you got?
I can't remember what they were, and I don't remember if it was Aristotle, Plato, or Socrates, but there were, I guess it was Aristotle, but there were like a list of virtues, and the virtue was kind of the median between two vices. So like courage would be between cowardice and recklessness.
Oh, I blanked out. Say that again. Back me up here. Run me through that again.
Yeah, so I don't remember if it was Aristotle or Plato.
Aristotle? Okay.
Yeah, but he talked about different virtues as being the median between two extremes. So courage, for example, would be between
fear,
cowardice, being governed by fear, and recklessness, being governed by impulse regardless of danger. And courage exists in between. It's doing the thing that you might be afraid of, but doing it with purpose, not just for stupid random reasons.
Yeah. So we're talking about the existence of courage. Now we might value courage.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not.
So he called that a virtue. He called that a virtue.
Yeah.
And so virtues are, each one of them was a balance between two extremes. Each one of them is like an appropriate, you could say like characteristic.
Yeah.
And then, different cultures value those to varying degrees. Like I think in a modern consumeristic, me-oriented Western culture, there's very little value attributed to honor.
Yeah. Honor, I think, is fucking gone.
Very, very little value attributed to glory, except for perhaps in sports,
Yeah.
you know, you see people pursuing glory in sports, but very rarely are our military heroes, right? Like in older days.
Yeah.
So uh, yeah, we don't necessarily value the virtues. So I think maybe the word value, could be, okay, what do I think is good? What is worth pursuing? And not just
Yeah.
what I think is good, but like, what do I really
Like
really
what
feel
is
is
really
good?
proven to be a good.
Yeah, and if I think I live in a world where the most important thing is my immediate gratification, then I'm going to value things that are going to help me fulfill my immediate gratification at the expense of things like the those
The
Greek
other.
virtues like courage and wisdom, and probably totally ignoring what we're talking about, principles like freedom and integrity and honesty.
Yeah. And then it still doesn't, I still have this question, like we don't know what a value is.
Mm. Of
Ex-
well, if we it's becoming more clear in my mind, at least like for this definition, is like a value is me quickly assessing if something is good or bad for me, or for whatever I think is most important. So if I think that my child is most important, and I'm going to value certain things
yeah.
differently than if I'm thinking about only my own needs. And then if we keep going with this definition, then a virtue is going to be a character trait that is advantageous in life. And then like a principle like integrity is something that actually exists beyond social, but we can recognize it through language. We can recognize it, and then we can conduct ourselves more in accordance with that.
Yeah. And then we can value that or not.
And we can value that or not. We could call it a virtue. I would say having integrity is like a principle, but it's also a virtue. And we can value that virtue of
Yeah. Or
integrity
like, and
or
then I
not.
do think people respond. Yeah, this might be getting off of track in terms of discovering what a value is. And I think people discover, like for example, I do have people in my life where I know I can count on them. And there's a consequence of that. It's like, oh, I think highly of this person. They keep their word to me. They're not fucking around. Like they got my back. I feel supported. I imagine everybody feels supported like that. And that's like a consequence, you know. So then part of how I pick maybe my values is looking more and more to the consequences of what I do and think and feel. And then I recognize and I value things like power and effectiveness and clarity and honesty and integrity. And I was taught to value those. And there are powerful consequences to engaging in those principles. And the more I engage and notice what the consequences are, the more likely I am to continue in the future because I like it. I'm like, oh, that's good. I feel better as a human being. So then I value it more. Yeah, I guess my experience changes. And then, you know, so I guess the topic of this, my current direction is how do I know how to pick a value or something like that? I'll go, well, just take a look at your experience. Like, what do you value? What happens when you do stuff? When I lie, there was a time, thinking a little bit about what we were talking about earlier, there was a time where I spent some time in California living in an apartment and I watched TV all day. I was smoking a lot of weed and I wasn't doing anything. And I started to feel really, really bad about myself. Like and then now I would look at that. It's like, yeah, obviously there's a correlation between the weed and the self-pleasure and the just like doing nothing. And my state of mind was shitty. And now I'd be like, so then the obvious choice, well, do I want that shitty state of mind? Don't do things that produce that state of mind. And then Now I value a better state of mind. So then I will value things like work. Like I get up in the morning, I make my schedule to work during the day because I recognize that if I don't do that, it doesn't feel good. And so there's like a recognition of actions and consequences. Now, how does that tie into value?
Well, it sounds to me like you've learned to value virtues that are in alignment with certain principles,
Yeah, and it makes a damn difference for sure.
and it makes a damn difference.
But then how do I get to the place of valuing something?
Well, it sounds to me like realization, thinking, contemplation, experimentation.
And I would only do that if I valued that.
Yeah, you'd have to like be a little bit smart.
You and I.
You'd have to like consider things a little bit. You'd have to be a little bit reflective.
But do you get what I'm saying? Because I still have this curiosity about what a value actually is. And it seemed, we could value being gangster, but we don't. We value martial arts. We value freedom. Don't try to tell us what to do. No. Him more than me. I'll have to fight against it. Where did that come from? Like, I think some of it's learned. Like cultural values are learned and like adopted. So it's something that I do. A value is not something that exists. It's something that I do. Can we say that as a true statement?
Yeah, valuing is an activity.
It's an activity, so we could say it's not something that just exists in the world. I do it. That gives us a hint.
But virtue is a quality, you could say, and a principle is it's a governing dynamic that exists.
Yeah, principles are like, you can't fuck with principles because they create reality.
Yeah, so I think valuing something is a little bit like me valuing an object.
And then you could value certain thought systems. You can value ways of thinking. You can value ways of feeling.
And I can do it in a totally unconscious way. I can have no recognition whatsoever that I am looking at this water bottle and in a way making it a water bottle, right?
Yeah, and that maybe that value on that water bottle could go up exponentially if your countertop was on fire and you needed some water. Stat. Now the value is like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So values sounds like to me values are about our needs.
And what's important.
Needs, what we see as important. It's very survival oriented.
Yeah.
It's maybe its purpose is survival. Survival as what? That's another question.
Yeah.
That's something we learn. Virtues are something bigger and or more objective, you could say, and less interpretive. And principles are yet another level of reality.
Perhaps. I don't like to say levels on well, I mean, you can say levels. I just want to be clear. I don't like it. He wants to do that. That's fine with me. And I warn against it in the sense that creating levels, then it gets locked in as there is a level. It's like, no, we just made up a level. So just to keep things a little more open.
Sure.
For investigative purposes.
There's another level of reality, not in the sense that it's something you can ascend
like
to.
Maybe we could say domain or something like that.
Domain. Okay, yeah, another domain.
Because then levels is like hierarchy, one's better than another, and then it's like it doesn't work like that, as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Another question.
What do you got?
Okay, so to get more, it was the 4th of July recently.
Yeah. Big deal for Americans.
Big deal for Americans. Big deal for some people outside of America, and big deal, no big deal at all for a lot of Americans. The Declaration of Independence states, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Self-evident.
Yeah.
That all men are created equal.
Yeah.
That they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. That means you can't take these things away, nor can you buy them at Walmart.
Okay.
that among these, not limited, not just these, but among these certain unalienable rights that were endowed to us by our Creator, whatever that is, they don't specify,
Yeah.
are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
How would you interpret that statement?
The whole thing? Or
Yeah,
just the last one?
well, the last one, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That
Yeah.
those are rights, and that that's one, and then the other one is that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
Yeah.
Those two, and that's self-evident.
Well, I would say we hold these truths to be self-evident. Yeah. I mean, I think they were some smart cookies.
I think they were.
Very smart.
They were educated, they were reflective, and they did a lot of communication and argument amongst each other.
Yep. See, we got to have arguments. Just in case, you know. Oh, no, don't say something that's going to be against what I think. Okay, I'm just bitching. Okay. I think when it's like we hold these truths to be self-evident, right away I think about stuff like what I consider when there's consequences to things. Like, oh yeah, it's self-evident when I lie and cheat and steal, a certain experience arises because of that, and much of it I cannot. It's like they're linked. The experience I have, the impact it has is linked with the action. So in that case, it is self-evident. If I have integrity, I tell the truth, and I'm honest, that I have a certain self-experience that arises because of that. And it cannot be broken. Ergo, you can see it. Go ahead, have a life where, you know, you're totally immersed in your own self, and that's all you're concerned with, and see what happens to your experience. You know, for example, so self-evident. That's how I see that. Now, we hold these truths. I could go couple different places with that. One, we could go to absolutely true. Not going there. They're obviously not talking about anything absolute. They're talking about a relative, something that they can recognize as true within a relative world.
Would you then, in your way of thinking, would you call the principle of integrity relative or
relative?
Absolute?
Relative.
Call it relative.
Yeah, there's nothing absolute. Literally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's universally showing up everywhere that it shows up.
Right. So then that could be true.
Everywhere that there are distinctions, pretty much, integrity shows up.
Yeah, you can right. It applies broadly. You know, objects can have integrity. A human can have integrity. Words can have integrity. Thoughts could have integrity.
And those.
And that could be self-evident. Like you could discover that. Like, and you can't fuck with that. That's the way that works. Kind of like gravity works a certain way, and you can't really mess with that.
So then, would you say that they're pointing at something that's not just a cultural value, like their valuing of these things, although they may value them, and it's not just a virtue, although they may be virtues that people can develop to align with these things, but these things that they're talking about are more like principles that are in operation, and they don't call them principles, they call them rights.
Well, yes, I've got both on that. I say yes and no because I bet they discovered some stuff like, hey, this is really powerful, good thing. These are powerful, good principles. Like, this makes a difference. If we hold that everybody's equal, no shit. We can interact now together. And it's like, we're all one. We're not separate. And it gets rid of that separation. Like, if people actually do that, which they tend not to, but you get some idea, and you can, if we pay attention, we can see there's a shared humanity, but it gets gummied up with a whole bunch of other crap, which we have, you know, cultural, you know, like people in Vermont don't necessarily like people from Massachusetts. They call them massholes. It's like, and they forget that there's a person there, and they drive like a masshole, obviously. And then like, what's that about? Is that everybody's equal? No, you're putting them less than you, for example. And it can get bad, like total racism. KKK members are like, black people aren't a person, say, and that's fucked up. And so then it gets, okay, wait, where am I going with this? I'm saying that we don't do that. We are not recognizing that we're all equal. And even in the Constitution, a slave was 2/3 of a person until they amended, right, 3/5 of a person, so obviously they didn't get the memo. Like, not everybody got the memo on that. So they weren't equal because they weren't a person. So it's like, all men are created. So this is what I'm saying. Trying to answer your question, I have both. Yes, there's principles in there, and it's gummied up with this other shit that isn't that. So now that's my take on that. All right. And then your next question was, what about rights? Now, God has endowed us with, or our Creator has endowed us with certain inalienable rights. No, our Creator has not. And, all right, that's just a flat out statement, and I stand by that. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't have rights, you crazy bastards out there. All right, I'm not saying we should not have rights. I'm saying, no, they made that up, and they made it up in such a way that they could give it power. Why is it powerful? Well, our Creator said so. Can't fuck with God, and probably in a culture which is a lot more religious than it is today, perhaps. Our Creator said, do this, so fucking do it, all right? In a sense, like, why don't we try this on for size? Certain inalienable rights, like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are good things to do, so let's try to do those. Why? Because our Creator said so fucking do it. Do we have rights as a human being? Is our rights true? No. We made them up. It's made up, completely made up. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't mean that they're not powerful. It just means that at their core, there are no rights anywhere. And they're not true. Push away. Yeah, what do you think?
Do you have a center of gravity?
Yeah.
Did you make it up?
No. But then that's objects. And we're not talking about objects.
Are we? Life is an object.
It manifests as an object, but life itself?
It doesn't exist without objects, that's for sure.
Doesn't exist without objects. Now maybe life is like a principle. So now inalienable rights, maybe they're talking about something like a principle. Now there is a principle that allows for rights to be a thing.
That's what I'm suggesting. Like you can violate your integrity, your physical integrity.
Yeah.
You can violate the integrity of your word.
Right.
And you can violate your freedom.
Yeah.
You can violate your life.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now, I would say that these things.
But that somebody has a right to that. Now, it just depends on what we're calling, or no, excuse me. I don't know if I can say it just depends. I am now curious, what is a right? I can see that I can see that it's made up because in other cultures, they don't do that. You do not have the right to free speech in China, I hear tell. Like, they govern the internet. Why? Because they do not allow people to speak or go to certain things, or free press. See, now I bet that these rights are founded on principles. But the rights themselves are a creation. It's like, oh, what could we create that is aligned with freedom? Huh. Bam, bam, bam. We can talk. And they're trying to construct, as far as I can tell, a society that works, that will work, and not have the craziness of, government coming in and taking over and then oppressing the people. See, they're trying to, as far as I could tell, create something that would work to allow people the freedom to do their own thing, and we have to work together. And so how are we going to make this work together so that people can pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Like, that sounds like a much better life. Let's make that a thing. And maybe those ideas are founded on principles. But the rights themselves are creations, and it's like some people have them, some people don't. So it doesn't, there's no universal law that says it should be one way or another, because obviously it's not one way or another. It's like we can have stuff like ISIS, but it's powerful, it's freeing, it's happy, it's way better than the bullshit.
Yeah. So integrity exists universally, and the center of gravity exists universally as far
Like
as
that.
objects in gravity are concerned.
Sure.
But rights don't exist universally.
No. The principles that allow for that perhaps exist. Yeah, like freedom like a principle, sure. Yeah, we could consider it like you can't fuck with freedom. If you do certain things, freedom happens. It's like, that's just,
And if you break with freedom, you get other results.
Right,
Yeah.
you get different, and you can't fuck with that. Yeah.
So it seems like freedom is the principle. To me, then, I don't think that so first of all, I don't think the founders had the distinction that they were making up rights. And I don't think that they thought that they were saying, let's assert this to God so it sounds palatable. And
right, and again, that's what I make up. I don't know what was going on, so that's me.
I've studied it a little bit, and almost all of them were either, I believe, Christians or deists, meaning they believed in God.
Right.
And they believed that God created us, and it either loved us flat out, or at least wished for us, like, wished us well. Like, here's a cool world, enjoy.
Sure, yeah, and then Go ahead.
And so, like, they're coming from that perspective, and so I think from their perspective, rights were not something that they were creating. They were something that they were recognizing and explicitly saying.
Yeah, and then they may have been based on what you just said, they could very well easily have been coming from a religious background where that's the world they're looking at. Our creator, whatever that is, we don't know. If we really question them, they wouldn't likely know what a creator is. And it's given to us as if from outside, the creator says, here, do this. So it's outside of me, which can give it power, and they recognize the value in that for them.
I was looking at ChatGPT today, and I asked it, there are a lot of republics throughout the world now. There are a lot of constitutional republics. There are a lot of liberal democracies, and they're not exactly synonymous, but they're close. There are only 2 republics, constitutional republics, that actually explicitly say what the source is of the rights of the citizenry. And all the others do not say it. They just assert that human rights are a thing, a good idea. And or they just imply.
What are the 2?
The U.S.,
Yeah.
and which the preamble of that, and Ireland, which explicitly cites the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Interesting.
And from like my perspective, my belief system that I've got going on, I prefer the American idea, because it's not naming the creator and saying you've got the Catholic worldview or the Protestant or whatever other worldview is the view.
Yeah.
But just saying that there is a creator, there is a source, and from this creator, everything arises. And I think they needed to do that because they were coming from different religious backgrounds. The people who were writing the documents were not all in agreement. They didn't all have the same, views.
In Ireland? Oh, here.
In the U.S.
Yeah.
But presumably in Ireland they did, and in other parts of the world they did or they didn't, and they had, or they just didn't think it was important. But I thought that was interesting. And I wondered if I listened to a man once. He asked me, um, why has uh, America done better, on the world stage than France?
I imagine I'm going to jump right to resources.
Okay, resources, but I I do think
Oh,
that there
and something
might
else.
be something else. And there
Yeah.
might be there have been 5 republics in France in a shorter amount of time than one republic in the US.
Mm-hmm.
These things come and go, they change them out. But
Yeah.
from the
I suspect our cultural value system, like we are born. This is another thing I want to perhaps digress on. As far as I can tell, we were born on. Oh, you're gonna oppress us? Fuck you. And we're gonna go over here, and now we're done. You have a problem with that? Oh, you do? Okay, bring it. And we have a massive country that we're like, we've got to go discover things. So there's like a pioneering mentality that I bet is part of it, sort of part
I
of an
think I
American
think it's
culture.
basically like this deep-seated conviction that freedom is literally God-given.
Yeah.
Like that freedom is sacrosanct,
Mm-hmm.
and you fuck with that at your peril.
Yeah. And it's in the Constitution.
And in the Declaration of
Oh, excuse me.
Independence.
Did
It's
I
in
say
both,
it's?
but
Oh, it
yeah,
is
you
in
said the
both. Okay.
Constitution.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I meant to say Declaration of Independence, or I should have
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you see, so it's like, and I believe that that's what these guys were doing. They were setting up the culture, and it's a document that's kind of states how our culture is. It's like this is what we believe in
Yeah. I
strongly.
I believe yes, they set up the culture, but the culture actually was that way at the time. Like those beliefs, those ideas were popular. It wasn't
Mm,
like they just totally pulled it out of their ass. This
right.
was percolating and had been for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then they exhibited integrity. They signed that document.
Right.
And if King George, that's treason. They could all be hung.
See, there you go. Yeah, they basically took a stand for something, and that it points at something like integrity and courage and
And
clarity.
one of the thing that's really interesting is George Washington was offered essentially kingship or unlimited presidencies.
Yeah, I've got a follow up story to this. Keep going.
He went home to his farm.
Yeah.
After he served his terms, he went home to his farm. He could have been the king of the United States. He could have been
Yeah, they wanted him to.
powerful. They wanted him to. And I've heard it said that Napoleon said when he heard that about George Washington, he said George Washington is the greatest man in the world.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
it is.
Follow up to that.
Yeah.
You might be listening and think that's an original thought. Look up Cincinnatus.
None of my thoughts are original thoughts.
Oh.
Probably know that by now. If that wasn't, that is self-evident.
No. No, because I thought like George Washington for a long time. I thought he was the first guy to ever do that. Look up. There's an old Roman emperor, Cincinnatus.
Oh.
He did that back in the day. That like Rome had some problems. We need somebody to come in and fight a war. They brought this guy in from his farm, and he went in. He did his work, and then he's like, "I'm done," and he went to his farm.
Dude.
Fucking the Romans, dude. Isn't that badass?
Yeah.
See?
So, and we value that. Obviously,
Yeah,
we look at
we're
that and
like, fuck.
we go like, man, I hope I'm the kind of guy that
Yeah,
can do that.
that's a man. Like, that's a fucking stand-up human being right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Fuck.
then, so we've,
To that kind of power, and then just give it up because they know it's the right thing to do. Would we be that strong? Would we be that, like, awesome?
yeah. Yeah.
Fucking don't know. Would Donald Trump do that? Fuck no. Would even most politicians do that? Bernie Sanders probably would.
Yeah.
Not to
I'm not
bringing politics into it. Well, good. What do you got?
Can we talk politics? Are we
We
allowed
can.
to do that?
I don't know. Let's talk. I'll see about that in the edit.
You can edit it out. I've been listening to a guy named Vivek Ramaswamy a lot lately. He's running for the Republican side, and he said that if he was nominated and he would consider if Bobby Kennedy did not get nominated for the Democratic side, he would consider asking Bobby Kennedy to be his vice president.
And would he do it?
I have no idea if Bobby
Better
Kennedy would
fucking do it, bro.
But this guy Vivek Ramaswamy is the youngest guy to ever run for the Republican ticket. And
In the States?
Yeah.
Shows how much I follow this.
Yeah.
I don't.
And he's an Indian, son of Indian immigrants.
Yeah, sounds okay. And he said he would do that, like bring the other guy on.
He was thinking that he was considering that.
I'm open to that idea. I'm like, yeah, let's have two people on opposing sides run the damn, like, let's go. Why are we so separated? Bothers me.
His contention is a lot of the separation is not conducive and not helpful, and it's even illusory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read. You can apparently. I hear tell. If you're out there listening, correct me if I'm fucked up on this. Republicans and Democrats used to work together.
What? No.
Yeah. And that we would have disagreements, but we go, okay, this is the right thing to do for the country. Let's go. It's like, why aren't we doing that, you assholes?
Well, I think that's called a liberal democracy.
Isn't that what we're supposed to be doing here? Like working together? It's the United States, not the divided states, you dumb fucks. It's united. Why are we united? Oh, because we can trace, I hear tell, you can trace back to, we were united, and then Newt Gingrich came along and started doing stuff. There's like a playbook of, saying basically the other side's like, there's a way of acting that's like conflicting with each other, and it was popular and gained traction. And apparently historically we can see that's when that started to happen in this country, and then we started to get more divided, and it's been going on for a long time, and it's now clearly the case, it seems to me. And it's like, whatever, this is my reactions to politics. I'm fucking tired of people not working together. It's obvious that's the powerful choice. We have differing views, but we can work together, right? Like, look at anybody that's on a team. Like, people that really know how to be on a team, they fucking kill it. They kick ass. What are we teaming up on? Oh, I bet that I suspect that politicians are wanting the power and they want their job to continue. And so they do everything to keep their job. You dumb fuck. You should be doing everything to serve the people. Right? That's your fucking job.
A little bit of a contrast and George Washington.
Yeah, where's your George Washington-ness? And then some people say, well, yeah, George Washington was a bad... Yeah, fuck you. You try to have power and then give it up. Can you do that, you weakling? You fucking coward. Ugh. And I'm like, why don't we work together? We can't work together. Yes, you fucking can. And maybe this guy's like... a new bright idea. Hey, why don't we work together? It's about goddamn time, you fucking fucks. I have a lot of anger about that. And I'm drinking coffee. Like, fuck, man. And I'm the common man. What am I going to do about it? I'm going to rant on a podcast about how all you politicians, if you're political and you're not working with your other politicians out of greed and lust for power, go fuck yourself. You're a piece of shit. Ugh. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. Why can't let's do that? Can we do that? That would be good. God damn you coward fucks. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it's just that aspect. Man, you guys are way off the beam. Where the fuck is your mind? You're supposed to serve people. I serve people. It sucks sometimes. I can't do what I want. I have to give myself up to be good at it. Anyway. Yeah, so what were you saying?
Oh, you might like him. He's Vivek Ramaswamy. He seems to be interested in unity and in working together and reestablishing that understanding of the Declaration of Independence and what unites us as a country.
I was just thinking, like, in terms of that actually working, one, right away, probably not going to happen. Because the powers that be are going to just shut them the fuck down. Like, no. Why? Because it threatens their jobs, probably.
Well, so he had this, so one of the things on his platform that I thought was really good is he wants to raise the voting age to 25 unless you either serve in the military for 6 months or take the same civics knowledge test, which means real knowledge of your country, the Constitution, the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, and why they came into existence, that immigrants take.
I bet most Americans would probably fail that test.
Exactly. So he says you either have to get to the age of 25 so that you at least have maybe a little bit of sense, or serve in the military, or at least take a civics test to show that you learned about how this country works before you start casting your vote around, based on, you have no idea what the hell you're doing.
Yeah, they're going to shut him the fuck down real quick.
They're not going to let him go, but he is a refreshing cat for me. There's been one thing he said that I'm like, dude, I don't think that's maybe gonna work. I don't know, but everything else I've heard him say, I'm just like, yeah, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, there's hope.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, great. That sounds good. I thought about, apparently Buckminster Fuller talks about sometimes instead of trying to rebuild something that's broken or to change a system that doesn't work, create a new system.
Yeah.
So, and then maybe so then it's less about repairing something that's broken. It's like, no, we're just going to do this over here. I don't know about all that, but we're doing this. This is new. This is it. Let's do that.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted amongst men. That's why governments exist.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's chaos.
Otherwise,
we need an organization. Yeah.
That's what they're either to secure the rights or they're not serving their function. That whenever any form of government, I might be screwing this up, becomes destructive of these ends, of securing those rights, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. And
to alter or abolish.
Or abolish the government. Yes. Any form of government that just becomes destructive of...
That's in the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah!
Oh, I see. Okay. Hang on.
Yeah.
I want to see what it says. Okay, here we go. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. So think about it before you go trying to fuck with the government.
Yeah.
And accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security.
And then it gets into the whole thing about King George and all the different stuff that he does or did.
Yeah. So basically, government, my crude translation, we've got rights. We're all about having life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In order to keep those rights around, we need a government. Why? Because
people will.
Because people are gonna fuck around with that, and if it gets fucked around with, it's the right of the people to destroy the government, and don't do it willy-nilly. Like, don't just fucking destroy the government because you think it's a good idea. Like, have some thought about it. And that most people tend to suffer. they'll just let it go. And if the government's fucking around, it's your right and your duty to throw it off. And when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursued invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. What the fuck does that mean?
When a long train of abuses
And
of your
usurpations.
rights demonstrates that the end of the government is not the security of your rights, but actually their power, their tyranny, despotism, to reduce the people to a state of being subjects rather than citizens.
It is their right. It's the right and the duty of the citizens to throw off the government and provide new guards for their future security.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they've set up that government should be for what? Freedom and security for the people.
Yep.
That's what the government's for. It's for the people to have life, liberty, and pursue happiness. Now, are you a politician? Are you doing that? Or are you doing something else? Trying to secure your job, maybe? Trying to do shit for your own ends because it's better for you, not better for the people you're supposed to serve?
A lot of people in the government are not elected. The majority of the people in the government are not elected.
Yeah.
So now, anyway, I'm not saying one way or another about my particular direction of voting, but like the way I see people and power and working together, if I compare what we've got going on in our government to that now, is it better than other governments in the world? I would bet so. You know,
I think
like
the
China,
foundations-
Russia, the foundations are good. Could we slip and then other countries, the government does not run as well as ours for sure. In other countries, probably European countries, there are certain ways of governing that seem much more effective, much better. Like I hear tell in Iceland, when you need to do your taxes, it's actually easy. Like, how come we can't set that up? Wouldn't that be a good thing? Maybe we should do a whole episode on how to make the country better.
Oh my God.
and I can get off. um, like, let's pull the, yeah, so maybe a note for next time. I think maybe we should wrap this up. Note for next time, let's talk about how to make the country better from the standpoint of aligning with principles of power, effectiveness, and integrity. Because one of the things I learned from training all the martial arts that I did, it's not about what I want, it's about what works, like what's effective. And it doesn't matter where that comes from, it just matters that I align with that. And I bet, like for example, right? Oh yeah, we could do a whole episode on that. I've got tons of shit. I saw a video of somebody in Holland, I think it was. They had to repair a bridge. They had that motherfucking bridge demolished, new one built, done in a weekend. A weekend. They fucking got it done. We've got a bridge here in Boerne, Texas that they've been working on for fucking years. And they're still not done. How come we can't do that? What's the fucking holdup? Like in Japan, they have earthquakes and shit breaks, and then they've got it fucking fixed. Like, what's the holdup? Ugh. See? Oh yeah, we could do a whole episode on that kind of shit. I'd go off. You see? Now, is that more effective? Yes, it is. Is that better? Yes, every person around here would be like, yeah, that is great. Like the bridge broke, fixed, done. And then how is it possible to create that? Well, we got to work as a team. We got to have money in the right place. Somehow that needs to be a thing. Now, I don't know. It's obviously way more complex. I don't have all the stuff, but we could do that. That would be fucking fantastic, but we don't. Why? Is it because it comes from another country? We shouldn't do that? Like, what? What's the fucking holdup?
Well, I think it's like, if you're talking about aligning with integrity and functionality and getting shit done, there are countries who get shit done, and it depends on the kind of shit you're talking about, better and worse.
Yeah, so I guess, and I hear tell, like in China, they have a dictatorship. They can say, all right, we don't want any more mosquitoes. Okay, every person has to now go kill mosquitoes or else. And then everybody fucking does it. And the mosquitoes die. Or like, we've got a dictatorship, build that city. And everybody's like, yep, they build the city and it's done. Is that a world we want to live in? No, but they get the shit done. So maybe there's a balance. But what would make the country function better? Oh yeah. Well, we could go. Yeah, anyway. Just a thought. Okay.
Alrighty.
Also, okay, so we can wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Thanks again for the flowers. I'm here with the ghost in the machine. Who is he? We don't know. He's anonymous. Anonymous John. Thanks. It's nice talking with you. As always, we'll keep going. We'll get better at this. We'll make some improvements as we go. I know you guys are bitching about the microphone. Yes, okay, I don't know. I'm being really slow with it, all right? I have not spent time. I'm being a lazy ass. Love you guys.
Bridge in a weekend.
You see, I don't even follow my own advice. Fucking hypocrite. Come here, do a workshop. Check the links in the description. Come to my website. Navigate the website. You know how to do this. Sign up for shit. Come do some work. It's good. It is good. The work is good. I hate marketing, but here's my marketing. Come do stuff. All right. Love you. Take care. Love you. Catch you later. All right.